So joining us now to discuss these latest developments is Lincoln Mitchell, an international relations expert associated with Columbia University. Thank you so much for joining us today. So how effective was the call between President Biden and Russian leader Putin?
Well, I don't think there's a great surprise in anything that came out of this meeting. Putin has this troop buildup in Ukraine, and on the one hand, it's a real threat. Putin has already invaded Ukraine. It's important for people to understand this. It is not as if he's going to start a war. He would expand a war in Ukraine. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014. However, the wisdom of further invading Ukraine, it doesn't work for Putin. It becomes a very long war. He will take casualties. The Ukrainian people will fight back. He needs to make the threat, but he may not actually want to do it, and that may leave an opening here for Biden in the United States.
So, Lincoln, how serious is the threat of more sanctions against Russia? Because we've been here before, obviously. So do they work, and is there a way to make these sanctions more impactful?
Well, in general, sanctions do work, but they have to be strong. The one thing the United States cannot do is make a threat and not follow up on it. The United States has to be prepared not just to follow on any threat we make, but to make sure our allies are on the same page. So if we threaten, the gas isn't going to be flowing through the pipeline, and Germany says, oh, no, we need the gas, which Germany has said in the past, it does get a little chilly in the winter in Germany, then we can't follow through on that threat, right? If Biden is going to make a threat and not be able to get it through Congress, that's going to be a problem. So the threats have to be real. The sanctions will work, but they'll only work so far. And remember, we all know that there is zero chance that the United States is going to actually get in a shooting war with Russia over Ukraine, and the Ukrainians know that, and the Russians know that. So Putin has a little bit of opportunity here as well. He's got a few cards to play as well.
So there are reports that the U.S. is preparing for the possibility of evacuating U.S. citizens from Ukraine if Russia invades. So what exactly is that going to look like?
Well, there are a lot of U.S. citizens in Ukraine. Some are working in business. Some are working around kind of the government, the NGO sector. There's a lot of Ukrainian Americans. I have many friends who go back and forth. So but Ukraine's also a very big country, right? So are you evacuating citizens from Kiev, the capital, which is kind of in the center-west area, in the western areas of Ukraine, where the Russian troops are going to have a very hard time getting? So I'm not sure that makes a lot of sense right now. And if Russia launches a full-scale invasion of Ukraine that gets as far as Kiev, we have a major war on our hands, which Russia will have a very hard time containing, and the U.S. and others will be very involved. So for safety's sake, it's always good, as we learned in Afghanistan, to get a head start in getting the U.S. citizens out if we have to. But I'm not sure that's really necessary at this moment.
Some good points. Lincoln Mitchell, we appreciate your time today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.